For those who survived and families who are waiting for possibly more survivors, uncertainty about the future lingers in the aftermath of this disaster.
A frantic search for answers in Nepal's capital. Families desperate for any word of relatives caught in the disaster. Photographs on their phones. Names on lists. For one woman, the only news that matters, whether her husband is coming home.
छोरा 7:30 मिनेटमा बच्चाहरूलाई ओखर पठाइदिए 2 किलो चकलेट 2 किलो पठाइदिए चाउचाउ पठाइदिए म त्यही 4 दिनमा आउँछु भनेको थियो त्यसपछि कन्ट्याक्ट बिन भयो.
Across the room, another mother is searching for her 26-year-old son.
में जो बाढ़ आया हुआ है वहाँ पे मेरा बेटा फंसा हुआ है. ये एक चालक है. वो वहाँ पे भंसार से 3 किलोमीटर और आने के खबर मिल रहा था. वो 8:30 बजे तक तो बात हुआ था. उसके बाद बात नहीं हुआ. उसके बाद अभी तक उसका कोई खबर नहीं आया है. कहाँ कैसे है कोई पता नहीं चल रहा है.
Not long after that last call, this came crashing down. Scientists say part of a glacier collapsed near the border between Nepal and Tibet, plunging more than a kilometer into the valley below, unleashing a massive flow of water, mud and debris. The deluge tore downstream, swelling the Trishuli River in Nuwakot, northwest of Kathmandu.
15 मिनट में तहस-नहस करके चला गया सब कुछ भी हम लोग के पास नहीं बचा.
19 bridges ripped away, roads buried, and buildings swallowed up by what scientists described as liquid concrete.
माथि माहालो छतमा पनि आइपुग्यो. अब लड्दै भन्दै अनि 1 घण्टापछि अलि घटेर गयो. बुढी पुरिहाल्यो. त्यहाँ अझै घरको छतसम्म पुरिहा. बुढी पुरिहाल्यो. हामी चाहिँ छतमा बस्दै 4-5 घण्टापछि त्यो राहत गर्ने हेलिप्याड गएर हाम्रो त्यहाँबाट उद्धार गरे.
Helicopters are carrying rescuers into isolated communities and bringing survivors out. The grueling search continues on the ground for more than 1,000 people still unaccounted for. Aid is arriving from abroad, but severed roads and communication lines are hampering entry of that aid and cutting affected areas off from the outside world. And for families waiting for a call, that silence is becoming its own kind of agony.
Shrinkhala Thapa, Program and Operations Coordinator of the IFRC, joins us live from Kathmandu. Thanks for joining us, Ms. Thapa. In a situation like this, how does one start?
To begin with, it was not at all easy for all Nepalese here to see the level of destruction, and it was not limited to only Nepal, but also many tourists are missing. But one has to do what they have to do. So right after the news was circulated, right after it was reported from the district, Nepal Red Cross Society team were already mobilized as frontliners in the ground. And as International Federation for Red Cross and Red Crescent, we also mobilized ourselves as fast as possible, because the first relief and the first point would be very, very critical to ensure that we are able to save lives. But yesterday, one of the things Nepal Red Cross did, which was very critical, was providing food and water to the people who were stranded, whose homes were washed away by the flood, because the flood has caused significant destruction with homes, roads, and bridges are also gone. So infrastructure is badly impacted, apart from loss of human lives. But the support that has been mobilized in the field is critical and crucial, I would say.
And given the degree of difficulty on so many fronts, and it's a difficult task, I'll give you that, how do you prioritize what needs to be done and, say, turn away from something else that looks, it's making an appeal but deciding at this point something else has priority?
I would say, one of the challenges still that exist is we do not still have the numbers. We still don't know the scale of devastation, and we don't know the impact so far. So we know that there is a huge impact, but there is still no accurate head counts. Till yesterday, we were saying 10 dead bodies have been identified. Today, it has increased to 177. So as it unfolds, looks like the situation is also going to evolve, and we would have more information. But honestly, one of the key challenges at the moment is understanding the needs, but saying that we cannot just wait without responding. So we had to respond to the immediate needs, but at the same time, we're also working together with IFRC structures and Nepal Red Cross structures as what could be the next steps.
So one response, the IFRC releasing nearly $1.24 million to the Nepal Red Cross Society. It's not something to be sniffed at, but even at this point, we can see that $1.24 million barely scratches the surface.
Exactly. Yeah. Because till yesterday, like I said, there was no clarity on the scale of the impact. So for IFRC, this is a priority. So IFRC is kind of working towards making sure that the required resources are triggered or resources are mobilized to Nepal Red Cross Society. But it's not limited to IFRC. Also, the partner national societies, ICRC, is also engaging. So with the Federation, we do realize that might not be enough. And so there are steps that we are taking to ensure the required services are able to be provided in terms of resources that are being.
On the nature of news of this nature, for days, perhaps weeks, there is a lot of coverage, and then the news cycle moves on, the concentration moves away. But for the people of Nepal, everything is lost. Family, homes, jobs, livelihoods. How does this IFRC try to keep the focus on rebuilding that takes a lot more than even just a few years?
Thank you. And in any humanitarian situation, in any emergency situation, the relief and the first point of action is critical. But at the same time, it is also important to look at the recovery part after the relief, because in this case, roads are gone, bridges are gone, villages are gone, houses are gone. So that would require a bit of a long-term planning as to cover the lost, lost homes, lost livelihoods. So I would say that IFRC would also look at more recovery after the relief part is kind of covered, because both aspects are important. I think it's important to plan more of a long-term processes to provide the required support to the community and the people living in the communities.
Thanks for taking the time to join us this evening, Ms. Shrinkhala Thapa. She's Program and Coordinator, Operations Coordinator at the IFRC, speaking to us there from Kathmandu. Thank you.